Our guest today hails from Sweden, and he is one of the greatest metal singers in our modern era, in my opinion. And I am so grateful to have him here with us today. A man who isn't just involved in the main band that got him to his notoriety, but also in others, which we will talk about everything that he's involved with today. And I would like for you to please give a warm welcome to Karl Walfridson from Pantokrator. What's up, Karl?
Oh, hi. Well,
We've been
I
chatting a
get a
little bit
little
before we went to this little
I,
introduction.
I get a little embarrassed when you call me one of the best metal vocalists around because I don't have that many strings on my harp. I can't sing. I roar. That's what I do. I mean, some people
Uh,
can do both of it. I
I
can't.
I think you're cutting yourself a
I
little
roar.
short, man. Yeah, but you roar with the best of them, brother. That's for sure. You do.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Well, but I appreciate your humility, man. But doing metal music is something that obviously I'm a huge fan of and have been for many years. But when I ran it, and I told you this, we were chatting here last couple days a little bit, and
Yeah.
I first found you guys. I think it was just like on a Spotify. I was listening to something, and you guys popped up, and I remember looking at that. And I'm like, who is this? It was probably maybe a year ago, and then I really started listening to your work with Pantokrator, and I was just blown away. Musically, you've got some really good guys in your band, and your
Oh, yeah,
vocal
we do.
style and your lyrics are powerful. So I want to talk about some of that. So how did you guys get started?
Oh, that is a long. We go way back, so it's a long story.
Since
So
'96, right?
I'm trying to make it as short as possible. The thing is that we got asked, me and Matthias got asked by some guys in a Pentecostal church if we wanted to join a band because they had a gig planned in the Pentecostal church with a bigger band like rock music something, and these guys were in the, what do you call it, the band that comes before, what do you call it,
It's like the
the
praise team or
the
whatever. Oh,
opening
the
act,
opening band.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they there was a concert planned and there was an opening act, and 5 weeks before the gig, three of the guys or two of the guys, I don't remember, in the opening act left the band.
Oh,
And then they asked us if we wanted to join, and and we were like, well, do you want us, you know and since and then we started with some covers, mortification, tourniquet, stuff like that.
sure.
We managed to write like one or two of our own songs before the gig, and that's how it started. So
Wow.
first there was a gig, then there was a band.
Now, are the current members? You don't have any former members. You guys have been playing together since
We
'96.
have former members. We those guys from the Pentecostal church, they left after a year.
Oh,
So
sure. Okay.
from late '97, we have not had any former, guys.
That's dedication,
So,
man.
but we had an addition in 2003.
Yeah, your second guitar
So
player,
yeah,
correct?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is it Jonas that came in?
No, he is the bass player.
Okay, that's right.
So he came in like third.
Okay.
First there was, so only me and Matthias was left from the original
From the
band,
church, yeah.
and then we had Ricky over to try for the drums, and then Jonas.
Okay.
And so those four guys from late '97 to 2003, and then since then we're five.
Wow. Your music, when I hear Pantokrator, I realize that heavy like death metal, or it has such a nuance to it, because there's obviously different types of, there's so many genres of metal. So you can
Mm-hmm.
say death metal, but You know, I've heard bad death metal bands, but one thing about you guys is that you're tight musically, and it's like you complement each other really, really well.
Yeah, and it's a mix of different styles, so and they complement each other really well.
That's true. That's
Also,
true. So
the
who are
different
your
genres that.
musical? Who are some of your musical influences growing up?
Ooh, well, for me, my music interest started with Elvis
Really?
when I was when I was 12, like when I really got into music.
Oh, that's
And
great.
then after a year of rockabilly and rock and roll, I got a tape in my hand with Mortification self-titled on one side and Deliverance, What a Joke, I think, on the other side.
Oh yeah.
And after that, stuff
It was
happened.
over. Yeah.
So I think we as a band were in the beginning we were inspired a lot by Deliverance and Tourniquet and Mortification
Sure.
and like Paramecium.
That's a great band.
So and then after a while we found bands like Ancestor and Extol and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then there's of course secular bands also, and but it's I think the reason the mix started out as it did of genres is because Deliverance on one hand and Paramecium on the other, like
Yeah.
like thrashy stuff and doomy stuff.
Yeah.
And then
Emacium is one of the best doom metal bands ever. Ever.
and then with like X or Ancestor, we got a little Blackish influence from that side,
Sure.
like folkish melodies and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it has become broader and broader, but it's like, well, I think people have been inspired by a lot of stuff that is not metal at all. Besides that,
Oh yeah.
there's a Swedish band called Kent that is like dark pop music
Really?
and like very very, what do you call it, like a sad. I don't find the English word for it. Vemod. It's like the feeling of a sad love ballad. What do you call that?
We call it sad love ballads, man. Yeah, it's
Okay.
kind of what it
But
is.
the feel, I mean, it's like there's
Somber.
different kinds of sadness. Somber, yeah, maybe that is
Yeah. Yeah, there's I think music is so reflective. I know you watched the video that I interview I did with Pastor Bob.
Yeah.
And he did a great job of talking about the different types of music for
Yeah.
the different types of moods. I think there are times where I really want to praise the Lord and it's not going to be heavy. And there are other times where I need to, I love, I don't know if you've ever heard of him. His name is Scott Joplin. He's a ragtime piano. So it's like 125 years old. But the way he was one of the pioneers of the old style Western type of music of that century. And he was a black man. And he was beautiful. I'll have to send you a link to something he did, but my dad introduced me to that as a kid. My mom listened to like Neil Diamond and stuff like that. And my brothers were all listening to Rush and Molly Hatchet and Zeppelin. And so I think you have to have a little bit of an influx of music. And as a believer, as a follower of Christ, man, I think people try to limit what they think you can listen to. And I think like Pantokrator, it gives me an out if I'm frustrated with ministry or whatever. I want to Mortification. You brought them up, and I'd like for you to talk about it. I am a huge fan of Steve Rowe. He is really like a pioneer, man.
The first 3 albums is something special.
They are, before he started singing.
To me, it's especially the self-titled.
Incredible.
And that's what got me into death metal in the first place. So on the one side of the tape with Deliverance was like, it was brutal and I got it, you know.
Yeah.
But on the mortification side, it was like, is this even music? I want to hear more. You know, like if you like horror movies, that kind of
Yeah,
feeling
that's a great
of
point.
of terror and delight, you know,
Yes.
in one in a weird mix.
Well
The
said,
first time I
Karl.
heard self-titled mortification, I had that feeling like that, you know, edgy horror movie terror and delight mix, and I
Yes.
just went one more time, you know.
What I
And
like about
sometimes I get really sad that I can't go back to those virgin years. I would like to hear our music with those ears.
that's
I can never do that. Like
no.
a song like Millennium in Chains, with those ears, when I doubted that this was even music, you know. I wonder how our music would feel if I heard it back then.
That's a great interreflective
It,
point. But I got to tell you, man,
because,
is I I had a hard time with death metal for a while. Not that I had a hard
yeah,
time with the music or the type. I just couldn't. My oldest son was like, dude, he kept playing me stuff. And I'm like, that's just not my thing. I just can't. I liked, like early mortification, but I think I hit a point where I was like, I'm just not. And now if I hear like a Lamb of God song, for instance,
yeah,
or, if I hear something from a secular or Christian man, I will
yeah,
look at it from a standpoint of these people are really talented. And so when I heard
yeah,
Pantokrator, it was I was telling you, I think it was March Out of Babylon or Awesome God. I don't remember what they both, I think, were on the playlist that I was listening to. Either way,
yeah.
um,
I
your
think
ability,
Awesome God is often on the top because so many people heard it, and
right? I
that's the
think that's
most
probably why it
off-brand song
was,
we got.
yeah, which is really cool. But I think when you guys are doing your own stuff, your March Out of Babylon, the way
Yeah,
you open up, can you kind of talk about your orchestration in this? Because we're going to post a link to some of the videos. If you're okay with it, I want people
yeah,
to look
do
at
it.
your
But
remade
I
video.
don't think I can explain much to you because I don't write the music.
When you heard it the first time, when the music began, when you hear the recording, what do you
Yeah,
think when you hear that?
it's like a Mordory feeling, like
Yeah,
a
that's a great.
futuristic Mordor. And I actually wait a moment.
Okay. I love the fact he just made a Lord of the Rings reference.
A German guy who made the cover for the album, right?
Okay.
But the idea for the cover is mine, and it goes way back. So that's probably I saw something in line of that. This is a part of the first version of the with the people marching out from. So this is like three sections. So it's a long picture. So this is just one of the sections,
Okay.
and it was something like that. You know, like
So what was your idea
like a,
behind this?
well, it's just like I don't. How do I explain this? Marching out of Babylon. You know, I think it's inspired by the text in Revelation.
Mhm.
Depart from her. You know, the Babylon has fallen
Yeah.
text where the church is told to depart from her so that they will not share in her sins and her judgment. It paints a pretty dark picture, and I think that's what I heard when I heard the song the first time. It's a Hoa Giger style
Yeah.
of music.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. You're when you I think you guys create such a great understanding. In fact, tonight I've been lecturing through the book of Revelation since the beginning of the year. Tonight's the final night. And
Yeah,
when I got to the point of Babylon and I was sharing with those who were listening, I'm like,
yeah,
this is like a painted picture, not literal. It's symbolic to show you
yeah,
the world government. And
yeah,
we're seeing a lot of that. more today. I mean, it's always been like that, but we're seeing
Yeah,
almost more of it now. You know,
yeah, I think we do. But
technology.
I'm not gonna start counting dates because I
No,
know what the master said. I'm just gonna, leave that.
you let that to God. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I, oh,
but
give me another moment. I think I have another section up there.
please, yeah,
Yeah.
find it.
So it's the top section. Those flat screens were going to be pictures in them. I didn't get to that.
I think it
You
speaks.
see the smog and the dirt and
Yes, I think
I
it
think
speaks for
also
itself.
I think my inspiration for those lyrics it's or the for me it's the aesthetic part and the lyrics kind of go together. I think more in pictures than in words in a way.
Sure.
I have pictures and I try to find the words for those pictures, right?
Right.
So it's like a combination between. Have you ever heard a Swedish band called Vinnie Domine?
I have. Yeah. I
Have
remember.
you seen the first album,
Yes.
Babylon Has Fallen, or
Babylon has
Fall Babylon
fallen.
Fall? Yeah. So that the painting in that I think was etched into my mind when I was. It was one of the first bands I found after Mortification, and the doomy side came in there. The feeling,
Yeah.
So I think a mix between those that kind of art and books like 1984. When
Well,
that
that's
comes together, you get Marching Out of Babylon. That comes together with the Book of Revelation, you get Marching Out of Babylon.
they all paint a very exquisite picture of what it is, and
Yeah,
I think we do a big disservice. I don't know how it is in your experience, but a lot of people, especially maybe I know a lot of people in North America that keep away from Revelation because they're scared of it, and they've been told through some bad theology that it's all for people in
yeah,
the future, which is stupid because we should read it now. I mean, it's the greatest assurance that Christ will return
yeah.
and we will be vindicated in his return. So
I
when I read it and I read about Babylon, I think it's such a comfort and so, especially when you see some of the junk going on today, you know.
yeah. I actually kept away from it for years myself
I did too.
because
You're not the only one.
yeah, I have a hard time with all these doom and gloom stuff. But and I focused on eternal stuff, like the Psalms. It's not.
Yeah,
I mean, but my view of Revelation now is that it's like it's in the future, it's now, and it's in the past.
that's right. That's exactly
And
right.
it's I think that people make fun sometimes of how Christians read their own time into it, like
Yeah,
totally, you know.
yeah,
But
absolutely right.
I think they should. But I don't think people who read their own time into it during the World War II, they were not wrong, you know.
It's exactly right, Carl.
So
I
so
tell
it's
people
like
all the time,
I think it's for every generation
it is for every generation.
because it's
I was using the analogy of what would it have been like during the Black Plague.
yeah.
I mean, they had the Book of Revelation. They were probably thinking, you know, but that's
Well, the
not.
Black Plague is there have been worse when it
Yeah,
comes to apocalyptic times. In
there
the
has.
500s, you had two giant volcanoes that erupted very close to each other, which sent most of the world into a much colder and darker time. And yeah, so in the Norse mythology, you have Ragnarok, is like the apocalypse of the Vikings, where they have like a winter for 3 years, and because the sun is eaten by a wolf and all that stuff. There are theories that that's a memory more than a prophecy because of what happened in the 500s when they had there's a bishop in Syria, I think, who wrote that the sun shone like the moon for 18 months because of all the dust. So you imagine people having no contact with each other.
Yeah.
And you have these giant volcanoes that's far away, so you can't see it and you can't hear it, but everything just goes darker. So it's a dusk for months, and so it gets cold and harvests fail, and they also had a plague on that.
Right.
Like so, and
There's been
living
moments
during
in
that
history.
time,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's called the Julianic plague. It was at the same time. So it's like they had food, they had all the riders of the apocalypse, you know, they had
Right.
war, famine, and pestilence, and
all at once.
So
yeah,
and you couldn't get a message on the radio telling you what happened. You just see stuff go dark and cold.
It's something about our technology, and it says a lot that we can follow people all over the world now and keep abreast of what's going on. They couldn't back then.
No. So you just notice that the sky turns dark.
Yeah.
And if you read, you know,
you had no idea why. When you write lyrics, your lyrics are extremely powerful. And so I know as a lyricist, that's got to be a big challenge for you. What for you, do you have like a melody that comes into your brain and then you fit words to it, or do you automatically have words first?
Mostly I'm years ahead of the band with the lyrics.
Interesting.
So and then I hear the music, and then I see what of the lyrics fits to that.
That's a good point.
And sometimes I rewrite a little, you know, to tweak it. But surprisingly often, it's just like it was, you know, intended for each other. It goes like, especially Marching Out to Babylon, that song, it was like, you know,
it just clicked.
The music was like in the rhythm that the vocals wanted to be. And so that happened many times. So I mean, I was working on that material in 2007. So
and that's when Aurum
14 years before.
Wow.
So
how are you guys received in Homeland?
Well, we're pretty much unknown, I think. You know,
that's do you think you have more response from other parts of the country or other parts of the world then?
I think our largest and most frantic fan base is in South America. And I don't know why. That's you. I mean,
well, South Americans love their metal, brother.
We understood it, but we don't know why it happened.
Oh, that's great.
Actually, our first demo that was released in '97 somehow made its way into one of those like local metal radio stations in one of the Latin American countries. So even back then, so
that's great.
I think that might be the starting seed of it, but seems like they have had their eyes on us all the way.
That's wonderful. You're now you also do some other work, and you've we talk to you about that.
On that.
You sent me Melech, and I listened to that recording, and that is quite the production too. And I really can't.
It's made in this room here.
I can't stop listening to it, man. Since you sent it to me, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
So how did you get started with that?
So, well, let's say that me and the drummer are a little more in a hurry than others in the band. and there was this time of nothing happened for a long time, you know. Sure. And we he was over here for Easter. That's kind of a tradition we have. His family comes here for Easter, and we usually record something or do something sure. when he's here. Like I lay down the vocals for some track or whatever. Some tracks are written during just those days, written, recorded, and everything. Often in this room here where I sit. So we picked
all the
up
magic happens.
a lot of it. Most of the magic, I think, happens at his place, but some songs are like recorded, like not just the vocals, but all of it here.
Oh, okay.
So he comes with his computer and stuff, and guitars and mics and stuff, and then we,
just go.
But we started with, we wanted to do something for Easter, so we recorded one of the songs that didn't make it that was planned for Incarnate, but didn't make it by some reason I don't know. So we recorded that, and it has Swedish lyrics. So, and then we asked the band if they wanted to release that under the name of the band, or if we would release it as something else. And they, or someone said that no, I think for anything released under Pantokrator, it should be all of the members playing their own, because on this recording Richard plays everything.
Gotcha.
And I growl a little, so because he can play anything.
Wow.
So then we decided to release it under the name Melech, and then we were like, let's go Swedish. Let's
Yeah.
So we made a English translation of one song, and we made one song just in English, but the rest is Swedish.
The female vocal,
his wife.
That's his wife.
Yeah,
it is beautiful, man.
Yes, it is.
And now she is recorded with Pantokrator as well, correct?
Yeah. So she is, for example, on the song Ökenvandring, the last one on Incarnate.
Yes.
Incarnate.
That's her.
That's her. Yeah.
Okay. She has got such a beautiful, unique voice, man.
Oh yeah, she does. There have been other ladies on earlier recordings. So she is not on every. I think the first one she is on is probably Incarnate.
Well, that's what really caught me, I think, the most off guard is the first track I heard from Melech.
Yeah,
was that voice just sets it up, and then you come in with your vocal, and it's special.
Most like the early Melech songs were Pantokrator songs that was just laying around.
Sure.
That we took up, but something different happened with them. At least to us, Melech does not feel like a second Pantokrator. It's something else, something
entirely different.
So it started with raw material from Pantokrator taking a twist, in the Melech recording, and after that we wrote our own songs. So like a bunch of the first ones were intended for Pantokrator when they were written, but then they took on. Then we picked them up instead and did our own thing with it.
Okay.
But then there's later songs that are like original Melech.
Okay.
That is not based on any older stuff.
So other than the work you've done, obviously now with Melech and Pantokrator, what else have you been involved with?
Me personally?
Yes.
Yeah. I made a lot of logos in my day. That's that's what I've done. That's my broadest footprint on the scene.
Yeah.
It's a bunch. So, and what have I done more? I've written a little lyric wise for other bands as well.
Have you?
Yeah, some, because
You
I'm on an overproduction when it comes to lyrics.
well,
So
you have a
I
lot
have
to say.
I have a bunch laying around. So there's one lyric from me on the first Skald album.
Oh,
It's
okay.
Until My Head Rolls.
Okay.
So go check that out.
I will. We're gonna check that
So,
out for sure.
yeah.
Now you have sent me some. You guys have put out music videos,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you've gone back and you've made some different videos because you just weren't really
Yeah, I had a
satisfied.
vision in my head, and
Okay.
it was more dark and bleak and grayish than the video, you know.
Well, I
So
think
I
some
just
of these
wanted to see.
videos that you've done, you have really you have a real talent with this and how
Yeah,
you put these things together.
the only official video, or the only video like recorded for Marching Out to Babylon is We the People,
Okay.
and the rest of what's up on the internet on those songs, it's me. I got some help with Phoenix Rising from a friend down south, like an hour from here.
Okay.
But it's so the only one that involved like the whole of the band is We the People. Rest is me liking to play with things, you know.
Anything you can do to keep it interesting, right? That's
Yeah, I like the visual side of stuff. It's
now you're
important to
wearing
me.
a shirt for Symphony of Heaven. Tell us about that.
Oh yeah. What?
So, what is your involvement with Symphony of Heaven?
Oh, I know Logan and I like him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, things I've done. I I did some artwork for Symphony of Heaven, not the
Okay.
logo, but other
Okay.
stuff. So if you look at "You Shall Be as Gods," it's a lyrical video. The background there, it's me, not me alone. It's me, and so I made the black and white drawing, and they had a computer guy who filled in colors and stuff. So
Gotcha.
it's a so I just, it was black and white
Well,
drawings,
you sent
and
me
then
the link, and I listened, and yeah, it's Logan. Tell so what's your background with Logan? Just
oh, that's I called. I think he was. I saw him play something on like he himself with a guitar, you know, like
okay.
doing a cover of some song or something, and I called him. So that's how it started. I just,
Wow.
you know, I enjoy video calls, so I just called him one evening. Hi there, Logan. You know, because he had some contact with the band by like messages, like what do you call it, through Messenger,
Oh,
probably, you
sure.
know. So it was a little back and forth there, and I find it easier to talk than to write. You know, it's faster.
It's
you,
faster.
if you want to say much, it's easier to talk than, you know,
Sure. Sure.
than
It
go
is
back and forth.
much more personal too. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
I
what is
called him one of these days, those days, and we talked, and I think kind of clicked, you know.
yeah.
And then in the beginning of COVID, uh, he called me and he was like, "It's a power grab, man!" And he was like kind of apocalyptic at that point,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he was asking me, "Well, how is it in Sweden?" Because I think he assumed that if it was so bad with mandates and restrictions and stuff in the land of the free and the home of the brave, how bad would it be in commie Sweden? You know, so he asked me, and oh, it's like regular, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and food. I've not seen an empty store in empty shell in any store or anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and we started to talk more after that, I think, and we had this uh, because we had so many like offline or what do you call it, um, off the record video talks
Sure.
where we compared Sweden and America and stuff like that. So we and enjoyed that, and then we started to record them. You know, just why not? So like
Yeah,
this.
absolutely.
So there's a lot of it out there where we like while when things happen, when you pull people back from Afghanistan, for example, we had a lot of talk to talk about after that,
Yeah.
and and then we got another guy involved a little from Australia who was like he had seen what we talked about and he's like, yeah, you're absolutely right, I was there. Because he was Australian, they were also in Afghanistan a bit, so he had some experience from
Sure. And Australia
time over
has
there.
their own set of really strange rules at times and different reactions
Yeah,
as
so
well. Same like
that's
Canada, you know.
it's so weird
It
because
is.
Australia, I mean, everything can kill you.
Right. They got spiders as big as human beings, you know, and it's like,
Yeah, they like
why are you
where it's
wearing a mask?
where it's a routine to look down in your shoes in the morning before you put them on to see if there's a monster, you know,
Right.
like a big spider. And
Exactly.
then they get,
You're worried about a mask for. Yeah.
yeah, why do you worry about anything if you survive Australia? But I mean, they had like concentration camps and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
A little nicer than the ones in the 40s, but you know,
Right.
still
There's still
they
concentration
put
camps.
people in camps,
Yeah. It's
and they had like drones flying in the streets and like the curfew is on, the curfew is on, go back into your house. This was like stuff you only see in really dark movies
yeah,
all of Australia.
it's a trip.
I heard this really weird stuff because they also had different regions or have, you know, like you have different states
Hmm.
and there are different rules and everything, and you can't just go between those regions as usual. You couldn't, like during COVID. So there was this kid like 4 years old who ran over a road and got into the wrong region, so he couldn't go back over the road. They had to take him to the airport and fly him back, you know,
What?
and have him in what if you want to know the details, you find a guy, what's Josh something, Josh James. He was a guest when me and Logan were talking,
Okay.
and he told us stuff from Australia. One of the
Wow.
recordings, he was like 14 days in quarantine in a hotel room because he he went from one region to another region, and then he had to
That's
wait it
insane.
out for 14 days, and they tested him every day,
Wow.
every day. Is so we call it prison island Australia. I mean, they started as a prison island, and they kind of went back there.
That's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
When we hear these
So
stories like this, it's like what happened to the freedoms that we've always known? You know, and I know that
yeah,
there are countries we are all very privy to the you know what happened with Stalin and you know, back in the day and
yeah.
Mussolini and Hitler. But when you hear, you know, now about North Korea and China, yeah, what kind of conversations do you guys have there when you examine some of these countries that are so not just over the top, but actually over the top towards people of faith?
Well, I mean, I grew up during the Cold War, so you heard a lot of Soviet Union and China. But the thing is that you
Yeah.
don't expect better from them. what was scary with the recent years was like places where you thought people were free that started to, like Canada, for example.
Right.
I saw Canada as a chummy nation with polite people and big trees and maple syrup and niceness.
Right.
And then they turn into 1984 overnight.
Yeah.
That's scary.
It is scary because you wonder about
I think
the minds behind it,
We really got on a sidetrack there, but the question was, how did I meet Logan? We have similar views. It's turned out that we have similar views on freedom.
That's great. No, hey, listen, on this Fellow Freaks episode, man, it's conversation style. So whatever goes.
Yeah. But when I start off on sidetracks, it turns out to be pretty long sometimes. I had to talk
I'll reel
with an
you back in,
guy.
Karl.
It was like 2 hours long because we just kept going on different sidetracks. But Logan and I, we found each other over some values, I think,
and common ground.
Yeah, and the thing is that I've been voting left of the Social Democrats in Sweden, and Logan is more on the right,
Gotcha.
And so a lot of our talks were like how to find out how we can agree so much when we when on paper we are so different.
Sure.
It's still a mystery, but it's like we agree on most things, even though when we do those political tests, we end up far from each other.
But what's common is I think that's like we talk about people with faith. It's so nice to meet other people that we might not normally have any kind of a common ground, but we do have a common ground in our love for God, and that really binds the church together, especially at the time where we need each other the most. From the show before, I've shared before at times, but I've lost a lot of my family, and so my family is not only the people who live in my home, but the family extension is the people who I church. I'm a shepherd over a flock. They're my family, and they're very close to me, and they look out for me, and they encourage me, and they get on to me if they feel like I need to be getting on, and that means a lot to me, because otherwise I'm not I don't feel like I'm special enough to have such a wonderful family, but here God provides it for me, so that's pretty cool. I got here in a moment, I'm going to hit you with 4 questions to wrap up the interview here in a moment. But I do want to ask you about what do you have planned right now with Pantokrator music? Is there anything on the?
We started recording new songs.
You have?
I think we've started slowly.
Okay.
I was doing song arrangements earlier today, like with earbuds and walking around the village,
Yeah.
and trying to fit words into the stuff they recorded, and it kind of clicked as it usually does.
Oh yeah.
I found riffs for the verses, so yeah,
that's great.
So we started. I think we started to talk in 2013 that we should probably record more like singles and EPs and shorter stuff, because people die waiting on our records. That has happened. For real.
Well,
I'm not
die
joking.
waiting. I get it.
No, but died, literally.
Have died.
Yeah, people who like got sick and died waiting for.
So you're not being tongue in cheek. You're being totally direct with me on that one.
Yeah, people died.
People died
like
waiting for your
people
record.
We knew that looked forward to like the next album died while we didn't finish it. So it's kind of a new generation for every album we make, because it's like 7 years apart. So
yeah,
we probably should start release shorter stuff, and then maybe put
Three-song
them together.
EPs. That's becoming a real normal thing now. You know, people are
And
coming
I
out
think,
with.
but we started talking about that in 2013, and then we made Incarnate, and then we made, so after that we made two other albums like with 7 years apart. So
Right.
but now I think it hit home that that's what we need to do.
Good.
To be out there, you know, not just go underground and people.
Yeah. Well, you tell the guys in the band, please, that we're gonna make sure to share this, obviously on our podcast YouTube channel, and in the description we'll have a couple of your videos. Just to, there's obviously going to be some people listening to this interview who haven't heard you yet. I guarantee you, people are fans of metal are going to love it. Whenever I turn them on to you guys, they are very responsive. Like, wow, that's very deep. Your lyric writing, brother. God has blessed you with a real gift of being able to punch home a feeling. And I know some of the accusations against the band a few years
tell
ago
me
are just crazy.
Tell me about the accusations.
Yeah, no. But I think what
maybe you heard something I missed.
Well, I was reading how people were saying, like, you know, they were kind of charging you with some of the lyrics that you guys had wrote. But I think when you look at your body of music, you are very straightforward. You share the message God's laid on your heart as a lyricist. And if people don't respect what you're doing, they don't have to listen. But the last thing they should ever do is criticize somebody for speaking the truth. And I think that's what.
So what was the accusations?
Well, I should say accusations. I've heard there was a article I was reading about probably about 10 years ago, where people were saying that some of Pantokrator's music, I think the way they worded it was like, oh, the term popped out of my head, brother, but it's like you guys were like not on, like you're leading a group of people astray.
Okay, must have been during our room.
I think it was. It might have been longer than 10 years ago. I'm sorry. I remember the word. We're going to have to edit this so I don't look like a big moron here.
I made the checklist for things I thought we would hear after that album, like like the water down the gospel, check. You know?
Oh yeah, gotcha.
Flirting with your cult, check.
Gotcha.
So I had a checklist for that album because I expected some backlash, because we went back in the days, we had pretty strict themes on the album. So we got Songs of Solomon that's all about like erotic love between man and woman.
Gotcha.
So some people reacted to that. It's based on the Songs of Solomon. And then after that, we made Blood is like the thread of like the blood covenant through the Bible, from the first animal that gets skinned in Eden to provide for clothing, up to Christ on the cross, right? So that was a totally different theme.
Sure.
And after that, we went into the stuff that became Our Room, and it's like the idea behind that was to be a little more mysterious, you know.
Yeah.
Like the Bible texts your preacher does not touch. Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So then we made that, and after that we went back to the core, you know, like with Incarnate, but it's zoomed in on Christ, on his years on earth, you know.
Yeah.
And then Out again in the broader with Marching Out to Babylon. It's like less of a theme on that one.
But
more
it's
just
not. It means that every album isn't the same, and you're not going to keep regurgitating. You're going to change. You know, there's going to be something else. And the thing, the accusation I was trying to think the word was the charge against you guys for being fascists, but they weren't reading.
Yeah, that's fun.
Do you remember that? Okay, that was what I was.
Yeah,
thinking
it was right after that was right after We the People came out, the video.
But if they read the lyrics, they would understand what you were getting at.
Yeah, but the people who call others fascists think that freedom is fascism often.
Right.
If you say we the people, or if you talk about freedoms or rights, then you're a fascist.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's not the way it is. It's the opposite.
Yeah, quite opposite.
So,
yeah.
so it is a fun story behind that, because we recorded the video in the summertime. And then the guy who made it for us, he had a lot of schoolwork and stuff, and it just postponed all the time. Right. And then it was released like just a few days after the insurrection.
And, what timing?
Yeah, what a timing.
Like you knew that was gonna.
And then I got from Logan like a print screen where it said, yeah, so I see now Pantokrator are fascists. I'm to burn all the records. And I sent it to the guys in the band, and I think it was our bass player who was like, was it the Martin Luther King speech that gave us away?
Right. 50 plus years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so we had some accusations back when we made Songs of Solomon that it was all about sex, and that's true, because that album pretty much was all about.
That's what the book's about.
Yeah, so that's why. Yeah, and then we actually had everyone was happy, I think, with Blood, because it was Christ-centered as crazy. And then when Aurum came, some people were like, what is this, because it was like a little more esoteric, and the booklet is filled with symbols people don't know. Stuff.
Sure. Well,
so, and there was speculations about the emblem on the record that had something to do with sun worship and Illuminati.
Yeah, that was another thing I read about that.
Especially our fan base in Latin America panicked over all the Mason stuff. So
maybe that's a good thing, though. It gets people to actually listen and gets people to read your words, and pretty soon it doesn't take long to realize that you're the real deal, man. You write.
So the idea, actually, one of the stuff that triggered the idea of Aurum was on like a Christian newspaper, and on the back of it was a comic strip, and was like two pictures. One picture was a Christian guy pushing his Bible towards someone, and they were like, no. And then on the next picture was a Scientology guy hiding his book behind his back, and someone was like, oh, let me see, and he was, no. And I thought maybe we should hide the gospel a little for this album,
Well,
because there is something people sometimes get put off, when you shove stuff down their throats, right? So,
but I don't think, if it helps you at all, brother, I don't think that that's how your music comes off. I think what you're, the style of metal that you guys produce already is intriguing enough, but your message is just like, there's so many groups that are so vague with what they feel, and you guys are not. And I think that's the best part of you, is that you're bold and you're strong. And, if people are worried about that, they can listen to something else. But then when you guys bring it like that, it blows us away.
But a lot of the Aurum stuff, it came in the time of like National Treasure and the Da Vinci Code and all that stuff. And I must admit, it kind of has inspired me a little. Most of the lyrics were done by then, but with the aesthetic concept around it. So I love National Treasure, by the way. I've seen it so many times.
Good to know. All right, brother. I got the big four questions for you to conclude our conversation today. Karl, who's your favorite band of all time? If you had to just pick one and their entire catalog, who would it be?
One band.
One band.
Let's say Woven Hand then.
Okay.
Because
you just
I really
our
love
curiosity.
I really love that music, but when it comes to metal, I can't pick out one.
Okay.
So let's go Woven Hand.
Very good.
It's like, because you know Horde, for example?
Yes.
That's not for every day.
No.
That's not for every mood, right?
No, it's not.
I think if I had to listen to something all of the time, it would be closer to Woven Hand, because it's like covers more. It's not so specific.
More diverse.
For a mode. Yeah, it's like
not so pigeonholed. Yeah.
But if I get to say one favorite musician, I take my drummer, because he writes music that go the Woven Hand way, and he writes different styles of metal. So if the closest I could get to get all of my musical sides satisfied, I would go with music from that man.
Fair.
So
fair enough.
That includes our music. So that's
no, that's a good answer. I like that.
The thing is, we all often talked about the way we see music, that you write the music you want to hear.
Yeah.
Because our I think our bass player was asked by someone sometime, what do you listen to? Well, I listen mostly to our album, he said. That's a frowned upon answer. You're not supposed
but it's true.
But on the other, if the music I wanted was already out there, why would I make music?
Yeah.
So I think that and I have heard that. I think I listened to an interview with Anvil some weeks ago, and they said the exact same thing. We make the music we want to hear, and if others like, well, that's fun. If they don't, doesn't matter.
Have you watched their documentary?
Yeah, I have. Like,
it's really, those guys have been doing.
I have a bunch of copies in the other room.
Do you really? I love it. I probably watched it at least a dozen, if not more times, because it kind of gives you hope as a musician. I'm a musician as well. No success at it, but I love to play.
What's your band? What do you play?
Before as I started becoming a pastor, the band I had, we just stopped. My son was actually the drummer. It was called Engage the Broken. And it was, I'm a big progressive metal fan. We didn't really play progressive, but I like it. We kind of we wrote music that I really wanted to hear. Imagine that.
Yeah.
I'll send you a link. You can
do that.
Listen to it if you like that. Yeah, but the Anvil story was great. But those guys have been playing music together for over 40 years. That's impressive.
That's then we stand in the shadow,
We've just look at you guys in 20 more years. You'll be doing the same thing.
Yeah. Probably one of the reasons, I think, you've noticed that it's a bunch of years between every album we make.
Yes.
We are slow but steady. I think that's the key to not our success, because we didn't have much success in that way, but our endurance, I think, is based upon that we wait each other out.
You've persevered because of that.
Yeah. The reason that we are we don't jump on everything and you know, burn ourselves out, is that I think to all of us in the band, music is not on the first. It's like come second or third. You know,
Sure.
it doesn't come. It's not number one. Not, number one is families and stuff. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that
And
makes
we
sense.
been in different places in our lives at different times. So there's always been like one guy slowing the band down. So in 2001 is what it was me. I just, you know, had my first kid, and then I had a hard time, you know, getting out on the road, and then the drummer came and got married and got kids, and he had a hard time, you know, getting out.
Yeah.
And then, you know, so it has always been someone newly married or with new kids.
Right. Well, that's life.
So we married our last guitarist off recently.
The
So,
last one to get hitched. Attaboy.
yeah, but the thing is that so I think the bass player came third with kids and house and you know, stuff.
Yeah.
And that's all, and it's like education and you know, there's been a lot of stuff like that.
Sure.
One year our first guitarist moved away like 1,000 kilometers from the rest of us, and then we almost, you know, threw in the towel. So it's just always been someone that couldn't just, you know, throw everything over the shoulder and go out on the road for a month.
But here
I
you
think
are.
I think we've never made any longer tour than 12 days during all of this time.
In over 25 years, you know, and 20 years together as a 5-piece. That's pretty impressive, brother. And no, so
yeah, I know. But
right.
The reason is that, I mean, the reason that we have been kind of slow is also the reason we survived.
Yeah.
You know, we're like
that's probably right.
The turtle and the fox or whatever.
We're not trying to choke each other.
Oh, the turtle and the rabbit in the story, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're
the turtle.
Yeah. The rabbit pulls over to take a break. The turtle catches up. Yes. All right, what do you do for recreation? Your second question: what do you do for recreation in Sweden? What's a favorite hobby to do there?
What I do,
tennis.
What Swedes do.
Yeah, what do Swedes do? What do you guys like to do?
I do jiu-jitsu.
Do you?
And I work out some. I'm a jiu-jitsu teacher for kids, and I'm a jiu-jitsu pupil for the masters. You know, so
very good.
I got a brown belt now.
Okay,
so it's black is next to go. So.
Yes, good for you.
I really enjoy that.
Okay,
it has been a pleasure for many years, and I paint. Now this is not really finished, you know, but that's what I do. And I have a painting over here that is more finished.
Karl's the artist.
This is the Black Plague.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Yeah. So the vapor out of his mouth is the germs or whatever.
Yeah. So, that's the COVID-19 guy.
I made that for the friends in Skald, because they were thinking about making a cover of The Return of the Black Death by Ancestor. So I made that as a possible cover art if they want it. You know,
sure.
I got inspired.
Yeah, no, that's good. What's your favorite metal album of all time? If you had to pick one.
I shouldn't say one of ours. No.
Hey, if that's your answer, brother, it's
now maybe it comes and goes, but maybe Exhumed of the Earth by Karmasium. Maybe.
That's an amazing album.
Sometimes it's The Return of the Black Death by Ancestor. It goes back and forth there. It's like
okay.
So have you ever, those albums.
Have you ever got into Believer? Do you remember that band?
Yeah, I like it.
It's different. Like
Yeah.
anybody else, they have their own
I mean,
very, very
my first love when it comes to them was Dimensions.
yes.
And I listened to that upside down and backwards. I listened so much to that album, and then later I found Sanity Obscure.
Sanity
Was that the
obscured.
title?
Yes, it is.
And also, and I think I think more people in the band also. I think they might be the reason we use the violin in Blood.
That
I think,
Dimensions was a trend-setting album
yeah.
of
So
any
I think
Christian
that
or
might have
non-Christian.
been one of the inspirations to use violin in some of our songs.
Okay. Well, when you
That
guys use it, it's very tastefully done. It's a nice
the
job.
thing is that our bass player is originally a violinist, and
Oh.
then he started to play bass because he wanted to play metal. So
Yeah, you don't usually
but
find a violin in metal. However, it can be done. All right.
it
And
can
then
be done. It's often very good when it's done.
I have
It's
a food question for you, Karl, because I
yeah.
always have to ask a food question. What's your favorite type of food?
Now it's like the music again. It's
Patrick with these stupid questions.
yeah. I'm very fond of Asian food, but also of Mediterranean food.
Okay. Okay.
I think those two are the top when
Very
it
good.
comes to we're not going down on to certain dishes here, right? But I
Yeah,
mean,
you don't have
just
to get
like
too specific. If you had a
yeah,
yeah,
like groups of food. I really like Asian food, and I really like like Italian stuff.
gotcha. That's good. That's good.
And then, of course, being a Swede, there are things I eat that no one else is eating.
Give me one. Give me. We got to know what one of those dishes
You
would
pick
be.
like so midsummer just recently. You eat pickled herring, new potatoes, and sour cream with chives. And and the stuff people don't eat here is the pickled herrings. That's
Oh,
but it's like
gotcha.
it's the part it's a part of every traditional Swedish, like for certain holidays. With the
Sure.
Christmas foods, there's a lot of pickled herrings, and with the with the Easter food, there's a lot of pickled herrings, and and with the midsummer foods, it's a lot of pickled herrings.
Well,
So that's always there. But
okay.
for what's special for Christmas is the ham, and what's
Sure.
special for and East, special for midsummer is the new potatoes,
Okay.
because that's
I
when they come.
I will
when
tear
you
up
have
some new potatoes and sour cream and chives, but I don't know if I could pull off the pickled herring, brother. So I don't
well,
think
then that's just the mild version. Some up north they eat the rotten herrings,
okay. Well, that might be
fermented
ferment.
fermented fish,
I'll do
and
pickled
that's like
instead.
don't
Ooh.
open that inside of a house. There's a lot of fun videos out there with Americans trying to eat not the
Fermented
pickled herring,
herring.
but the fermented
Ugh.
fish.
My dad, I grew up,
It's
I'm
like,
the youngest of 10 boys, and my dad would always buy things like pickled pig's feet in a jar because nobody
yeah,
would ever eat it. And he was always guaranteed that there would be some in that jar. True story.
yeah,
Yeah, so I
yeah.
get it.
Yeah. So
When are you
yeah.
guys gonna when do you think you ever make it to back to the States? The
Oh,
tour?
we've never been there as a band
Okay.
yet.
I thought you
We
had. I'm
want
sorry.
to. We want to. You know,
We got to
I,
make
I
that happen.
really, I really want to. I have a thing for America. I have been there personally twice, but
Okay.
we've never been there with a band yet.
Well, we are going to see if we can't make that happen somehow, man. I think we're going
Yeah,
to get all the American Pantokrator fans together and make that
yeah.
happen
The thing
somehow.
is, you could probably get Melech for an opening act with
Yeah, that's
just
true.
one.
That's very true.
You need one extra ticket. That's it.
That's it, just for the wife.
Because the lady in the band.
Yeah, that's right.
Otherwise, you're in the band. Melech does not have a full set.
Sure.
It's like and it's kind of the ideal. Maybe one time we will have, but it's fun to have something that is small and can turn fast.
Yeah, amen to that. Yeah.
Less people involved. We made one streamed concert during COVID with Melech. I'm gonna send that over. So it's a
Please,
different.
yeah, send that to me.
Yeah, it's a different aesthetics. So
Okay.
the drummer is a shadow on the wall.
Ah, okay.
For
Well,
example,
because he plays everything.
and then there's me and the guitarist and the lady. So that's like three people and one shadow are playing Melech. And
Interesting. That's all right. We'll check it out, man.
we need a projector everywhere we go. That's
Hey, listen, Karl, you have been
yeah.
very gracious with your time, man, and we appreciate getting to know you. And you are you're very easy to talk to, and I think as people begin to click on the link, for those who haven't heard you guys, we're going to continue to just encourage them to check out the music that you've done. So we will attach links on the description of this video of both Pantokrator and Melech. And we can't thank you enough, brother, for taking the time to come and visit with us. And
yeah. How long have we been going on?
We've been going on for over an hour, so it's great. I usually cut them at about an hour, but it doesn't matter how long it is, man. People will check this out. So
just one question for you. Do you know anything about Crimson Moonlight?
Crimson Light?
Crimson Moonlight is a black metal act.
Crimson Moonlight. You mentioned them in one of your messages, but I haven't. Yeah.
I'm gonna send you something of them.
Okay, please do.
The thing is, when we talked about getting people over to the States, they have been there. Okay. Lucky bastards. They went to Chicago and whatnot and hung around for a while, played some gigs.
Okay.
So our drummer is the bass player of Crimson Moonlight, so he got to go there.
Oh, okay.
Playing. So let's say that the Swedish Christian scene and the Swedish scene overall is pretty inbred in a way. Everyone is involved in everyone else's band.
Business, right?
But that also gives you the opportunity of get a bunch of really good bands with fewer seats. The members, because the drummer in one band is the bass player in another, and he plays guitar in the third. So,
Living Sacrifice
could make a real efficient thing of this.
Living Sacrifice's lead guitar player is also the drummer for Evanescence.
Yeah.
So that's it doesn't the apples don't fall too far from trees. So that's a good thing. Hey, brother Karl, I really enjoyed getting to know you over the last few days. You've been very cool with sending me different things. It's been great to check out, man. We're going to certainly encourage you guys to make it over to the States, but have a chance to come over to Sweden. I'll be hollering at you, man.
Yeah, and since you say you like my lyrical work, if you ever get involved in music again and need lyrics, just call, because they just lie around here.
Okay. Fair enough. I will do that. Hey, Karl, thanks for being a friend of the show, man. We appreciate your time today.
Okay.
All right. You take care of yourself, brother.
Yeah. Have a good day or whatever. Night for me, day for you.
You got it.